How you doing, friends? It's Kevin here to bring you a devotional, and today I want to talk about the spiritual maturity. So as you'll probably know, those that follow me on social media, I've been attending, and I just finished my first semester of theology. To be honest, it's been an exhilarating experience because it's the first time I've been away from my parents for more than 24 hours. And it's quite a distance. You know, for 4 months, being away from my parents, it was a great maturing experience, especially spiritually, because as I burst this bubble in which I was living in, I realized that I had actually not reached the level. While I was at home, I felt like I was reading my Bible constantly, I was praying constantly, I was preaching, and I felt really good. I know you've probably felt this before, where you pray and you do all these things, but then you feel like you're in a spiritual plateau, like you've hit a wall where you don't seem to grow, you can't seem to advance, like there's something wrong, but you don't know what it is because you're doing everything right. And when I went to Cuba, and now that I was running my schedule, doing what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, being my own self, I realized that I had made a huge mistake. I had based my spirituality on my surroundings. And though I knew what was right, I did it because of my surroundings, not because it was right. And I have to be honest with you, I really fell from my spiritual level a lot. And I'm actually thankful to the Lord because of that. Because it's been a learning experience for me. Coming out of where I felt comfortable to a place that I didn't know. To do things that I didn't know how to do. And run my life has really helped me to see who I needed to be looking at. Who had to be my reference point. In the Bible, we find 3 stories that relate very closely to that. First of all, we have the story of Peter. When Jesus calls him out upon the waters. We've all heard that song, Oceans. It's a favorite of many. And Peter thought himself to be a super apostle. And his faith was great on land or in the boat. But as soon as Jesus called Peter out to walk with him on the water, Peter realized how little he actually believed in Jesus. How small his faith was. We see the same thing in Moses, who from birth had been selected to liberate his people. And as he grows up in the house of Pharaoh, thinking, this is it, I'm gonna bring freedom to my people. God has to take him out, use this situation where he murders the Egyptian to bring him out and show him that it's not by his means that God is gonna liberate his people. And for 40 extra years, Moses has to go through a learning process in a land that is not his own, doing something that he never thought he was going to do, just so he could learn to trust in God. Later in the Bible, we see how clingy, we could say, in today's terms, Moses becomes, to the point where he won't take another step unless God promises to go with his people. And the story I most relate to is the story of Abraham. Or Abram, when he was called out. If you read the Bible carefully, Abraham was not called out of Ur, but his father was the original one that had received God's call out of Ur. The thing is that Abraham's family stopped halfway through in the town of Aram. And I'm almost sure Abraham felt like a lot of us have. He was doing probably more than the rest of his family. He was closer to this God that they didn't quite know. And yet, Abraham had to be called even further out than the rest of his family, so God could make the covenant with Abraham. Abraham had to go away from the things he knew, the people he loved, so that God could show him and make him the father of faith. I don't know what the situation you might be in, and I know most of us know what we have to do. We have to leave some things behind, but it's uncomfortable. It's not human nature to walk away from a good situation, to enter a trial with happiness. I understand. But let me tell you something. When God calls you out, it's because he wants you to mature. The growing process is never easy. You always have to leave some clothes behind, and there's even some growth pains. But if that's what's necessary for you to go to the next level with the Lord, you need to look for that experience. I don't know what it might be in your life. Maybe it's a group of friends that you've grown accustomed to, or maybe it's a church or a program or just a situation where you feel comfortable. Challenge yourself, and please accept God's call for you today in this new stage of your life, in this new challenge, in this new year, to step out in faith with the Lord and go beyond what you already know. I'm not saying step into temptation and test your faith. No. But look for those opportunities to go beyond what you think you can do, what you know, so you can advance in your knowledge with the Lord. I'm really thankful that God has taken me to Cuba, because it's helped me to see how much more I need to depend on Him. And I know God has a great plan for each one of us, and He's calling you out today to step out in faith and be victorious in Him. I hope this message has been a blessing to you. Please share it, give it a like, subscribe to my channel here, and please keep tuned. In the next devotional, I'm going to be talking about God's plans and His timing. Until then, God bless.